How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me, Chris.
How was the gig last night?
I was amazing. I was blown away by the fact that everybody here seems to know my tunes. So it's never happened before. So I didn't know I had such a strong following in London.
No Static has been a smasher here.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that record is pretty much well known all over. But even some minor tunes from my album, they were like screaming when I played them, and it was like felt pretty weird at the beginning. It was like maybe I'm doing something wrong. There's something, And it's like no, it's good. It's good.
Are you touring around much DJing?
Yeah, I've been on the go for the last 2 months. I've been playing Brazil, the US, Canada, and now I'm back to Europe. I was in Turkey last weekend, and I'm playing England this weekend, and next week I'm going to Ukraine, and then after that is Poland, and then I go everywhere but Italy. My young Italy never books me.
Isn't that weird?
Well, it happens to very many Italian producers. I mean, just the music I do doesn't have a following there, and Italy's they're very slow in getting into new things.
Right.
So possibly in Italy you find parties that you had in London 10 years ago, you find them now.
Right. Well, what's the general sound in Italy?
It's still pretty minimal techno, I think, and there's a hard electro. It's mostly for the kids.
But you're from Venice, is that right?
I am, yeah. I live there.
Okay, so do you live in the old city, or do you live?
Yeah, I live just off St. Mark's Square, actually. Yeah,
Oh,
I live
wow. How did your whole connection with Italians Do It Better come about?
We just emailed through MySpace, and they said, we like this tune that you did, there was no static when I released it. I said, okay, and a few months after it was out, it was just very
That
quick.
simple?
Yeah, it's no big deal. They're a very strange label, strange in a good way, because it's a very punk, do-it-yourself approach. They don't do contracts, they don't do statements, they don't do release dates. We just put the music out, and then,
Yeah, we're very like that on Untracked, actually. Yeah.
So I think it's the way to go, because everybody's complaining that industry is so broke, and I think there's new ways of doing it.
You're a record dealer as well, aren't you?
I do actually. I buy very many records, but I'm not a collector, so I sell as many as I buy, basically. I try to keep my records in a closed economy, so not to go bankrupt over collecting freaks.
Yeah.
So even if I have like a very rare record, I would sell it for the right price. So that allows me to buy more stuff and discover new music. I don't care about owning stuff. I just want to.
You're not a hoarder.
I want to have a good copy so I can maybe make a re-edit or a remix of it. But I don't really want to hoard it. Yeah.
Right. So is it good shopping? Is it good digging in Italy?
The shops are not so good, but there's private people that have like maybe 50 or 60,000 records. And you can go to them, and you can find good stuff still for cheap. Yeah.
What do you make of the whole Italo disco revival?
I don't know, because I think I've said it already quite a few times, but I think there's two sides of Italo disco. There's the more commercial side that was the pop Italo that was successful at the time, but it was really commercial, bad pop music with bad lyrics, and it was nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing very good about it. And then there's also the underground Italo that basically failed at the time. Nobody was playing it. The Italian DJs, they thought it was crap because it was considered inferior to UK or US import records. And now that's being rediscovered because it was ahead of its time, was really very deep, basic music, and similar to the music that's being produced in the 90s and the 2000s. So that's why it's working on the dance floor. Last night I was playing tracks from 1982 and then mixed it with a track from 2009. So it works, Usually I start just fiddling on a synthesizer, and it usually starts with the melody or the bass line. I started out as a jazz pianist, so DJing is actually my newest thing. I only started like 7 or 8 years ago. So I still have a musician approach toward music production, and most of the dance music I don't really know. Like, I don't have a strong dance music background.
Yeah.
And so to me it's very refreshing to...
That's probably to your advantage.
It is, but it's still, sometimes I fall in love with some old school Chicago or Detroit track. Everybody knows it but me, So I'm kind of naive in a sense, but yeah. Also, living in Venice, there's no clubs or no scene to be distracted by or influenced by, so it's like, I do my own thing, I lock myself up in the studio.
Are you an analog kind of guy?
All my synths are analog. I do all the stuff, the guitars, the bass, I try to play and record all the time, and I record everything on the computer. I'm not like a tape analog guy, but I like the analog sound just because I think it's the thing with digital, working with the virtual synthesizer, is that you can change the sound at the very last minute. Whatever with analog, you have to shape the sound, then you record the part, and then it's done. You cannot touch it anymore. You can only maybe edit it, but
Yeah.
So I like that work process better because I have to make decision all the time and I have to commit to sound. I think that makes music more felt about in a sense, you know.
If you're a regular viewer of Heads Down, you know that often I love to get the interviewees to pull out a couple of records that they're really feeling at the moment. They could be old, they could be new, just what they think are their current bangers, heaters, if you will. Anyway, Bottin, what have you got here?
Yeah, I've got this record, Welcome in Peace. It was given to me by a guy in Los Angeles called Professor Delacroix. And there's a great Alexander Robotnik remix.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really doing it for me. It's called Iron Drive. That's a good one.
Is that a newbie?
Yeah,
like really new?
Yeah, this is yours. Yeah, it just came out, I think. Next, this you cannot have. I can show it. This is a record I cut myself.
Damn.
Yeah. You see, yeah, my very first cut says here. I don't know if
I don't know if we're going to pick that up.
Yeah. It's actually Mike Theodore, which is a disco producer from Detroit in the late 70s.
Okay.
And it's an edit I did of it's called High on Mad Mountain.
Okay.
And it's up-tempo disco, very powerful. Sounds like 90s house, but it's made in the 70s. It's very Mike Theodore. I think he's one of the few legit disco producer from Detroit, and it's really a powerful track. All of this stuff I'm very fond of. And the B-side, it's an edit I made of Love Taker by Stefano Pulga, which is 1/3 of Cano.
Okay.
And it's a track he did in 1984, and it's totally Italo electro stuff. Yeah.
What have you got coming up?
Oh well, maybe this year I've been basically doing remixes. Like I've done like 15 remixes this year alone, and so I'm gonna release actually a remix album just to collect these. I'm gonna do this on Funk. And there's remixes of Richard Hofmeister's Tosca, In Flagranti, an Australian band called Los Valentinos.
Right.
And so there's a bunch of good stuff.
So you're off to Nottingham right now? Is this the last date in your current visit to the UK?
Yeah. Tonight is Nottingham. Looking forward to that. Never been there, so.
And then back to Venice?
Then back to Venice, yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.